Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. This is DJ and I'll be your host for this week. I am joined by the two Garg brothers, and yes, there is two of them. First, I'll go to Ashwin because I've been speaking to him quite a lot of late. I'm going to keep Varun waiting for a bit. Ashwin, how's it been, man? You've been off traveling, you've attended a friend's wedding, the IPL started, so it's all happening, man. What's going on?
Wedding for one of my friends, Adam, got married Saturday night, so congratulations to them. But then early morning, 9 a.m., up and ready, watching CSK versus Mumbai on my phone. For our listeners in America, they've just switched over all of the cricket from Hotstar to ESPN Plus. So it's a little bit of an adjustment, but pretty good overall. So it's now all the games are on ESPN. We had our first game of the IPL season, but also the 31st, I guess, 32nd, whichever one it is, 30th match, the 30th match. So pretty great, man. IPL fever's back.
And presenting Varun Garg all the way from Germany, which is apparently the only other country that has an efficiency bubble with Singapore. Varun, how's your very efficient holiday been going so far?
It's been very good, man. It's been very efficient, as you said. No, great to get away. A holiday during COVID isn't easy, so especially from Singapore. So it's been really good. And yeah, man, I mean, we've got a lot to chat about. I feel like I've been in a little bit of a time warp because ever since I left Singapore for Germany, there's been this whole negative PR around our captain, and we have to get into that. So I'm hoping we start with that today.
Oh yeah, we're going to be talking all about that. We're going to be talking Kohli's captaincy, T20, India T20, RCB. He's quit RCB today, which is another amazing fact. We're going to be talking about the first game of the IPL, and we're going to be talking a little bit about girls who are down under starting an ODI series. But first of all, if you're listening to this on Apple, Spotify, wherever, leave us a review, right? We need reviews, we need your rating. And if you're listening to this and watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe. The more people that like, the more people that subscribe, more people get to know about the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. So please go and do that. With the plugs out of the way, Varun, you spoke about King Kohli giving up India's T20 captaincy. First of all, I'm going to ask you for your emotional reaction to that, because Ashwin and I have spent a lot of emotion in the last few weeks about India winning. We've been down about India leaving and going to the UAE with the Manchester Test being cancelled. And then comes the Kohli T20 announcement, man. Like, what is your emotional connect to Kohli as a T20 captain, firstly? And did it feel like there was an end of an era beginning?
I mean, to be very honest, that's why I use the word time warp, is because I'm so shocked at how things have unfolded. Like, I mean, let's do a quick recap, right? Like the Manchester Test gets cancelled. Everyone says, okay, there's a little bit of a downtime. Let's take a break before the IPL starts. And suddenly, a couple of days later, you hear a rumor first that's come out that Kohli is going to give up T20 captaincy. Then the BCCI came out and said, this is just a rumor. 2 days later, it's actually announced. He's not given enough reasons. He's put out the standard message. You know, in the corporate world, corporate tips by Varun Garg, you always start the email by saying that I've had long discussions with X, Y, and Z, and they have decided to pursue other opportunities. And I mean, it felt like a standard corporate email. So here's how it goes down, right? Kohli says he's giving up the captaincy. We are all surprised. We're all shocked. You asked about the emotion of Kohli as a T20 captain. I've not seen him as a T20 captain. I've seen him as the India captain. In the last T20 World Cup, Dhoni was the captain, right? So let's recall that where Kohli played amazing knocks for the country, got us to the semifinals. Dhoni was the captain. So Kohli has not played a T20 World Cup as captain. He has won T20 bilateral series. For whatever that's worth, it still counts today in almost all overseas countries. So where this is coming from, I'm not sure. Then we hear Rohit is going to be in the running for captain. Then we hear that Kohli went and apparently said Rohit is 34, so he should be removed as vice captain. KL should become ODI vice captain, and Pant should become T20 vice captain. Then we hear that BCCI reacted really badly to that. And so as a result of that, suddenly Kohli's been removed from captaincy. This has all been triggered with Shastri leaving, of course. And suddenly, out of the mix, you hear that now Kumble is being approached for overall India captaincy. Sorry, guys, if I'm going a little fast, but I'm just giving you the recap as I've seen it over the last few days. In the middle of a driving holiday, I keep checking my phone, right? Kumble now is back in the mix. VVS Lakshman has been asked to apply, right? Then all of a sudden, today he's given up the RCB captaincy. Tomorrow, I heard there's another announcement coming that he's stepping down from his building presidents association in Mumbai. So he's going to give up the colony duties as well. So, I mean, sorry, that was a long speech from me, but DJ, is that how it unfolded pretty much?
I think there are only two words to sum your little discourse up there, and it's chronology samajhiye. And I think you've explained the chronology there really well. And Ashan, I want to ask you, man, okay. So we've talked about workload previously on this show, saying, does Kohli give up the T20 captaincy? We have thought about it. Does he give up T20 captaincy and stop playing T20 cricket? Then, after he retired, I went back and looked up some of the old stats. Let's talk about Kohli's T20, the last two World T20s he's played. He has been man of the tournament, Ashwin. Is he not good enough to stay in this team as a T20 batter, which he seems to want to do? So that's the first question I want to ask you, because he cited workload fatigue, but he's giving up being skipper, but he's going to continue playing. How does that sit with you?
That part sits okay. I think there's a few different elements to unpack there, right? The first is the one two-word phrase we use a lot on this show, not chronology samajhiye, but is recency bias. Kohli has had a little bit of a lean patch. He just has, right? As a batsman. Still, he made a couple of 50s in the last series. He looked good. And yet, for the bar he has set for us, he had a little bit of a lean patch. There's no question about it. So suddenly, for many years, we've said not only is he currently the best player in the world, he may be the best to have ever played the game. And suddenly, with a little bit of a lean patch that coincides with the global pandemic, soon after he had a child and this and that, or, all of these things, it's a lot to process. Okay, so that's step one. Then you come to the question you asked on T20, does he merit his place in the side as a T20 batsman? And as of today, there's no question he does. To your point, man of the series in the last two T20 World Cups, which I don't think I even remembered. That's incredible, right? So he's an unbelievably good T20 batsman. No question about it. Then you come down to, okay, but if you're really trying to manage workload, why would you bat and not stay captain? I think my question mark has always been, can Kohli really be in the team under somebody else? And I think he has said, as I turned 32, he turns 33 in a couple of months. That's what he's decided he's willing to do. And let's be clear, a lot of players have done this over the years. A lot of, including Dhoni himself, right? Said, I want to keep playing, but I don't want to lead. And so there's a lot of added toll captaincy takes. And in India, it's not just, hey, where do I put my fielders and how do I rotate bowlers and all the things you have to do, which is a lot. It's also managing the media, managing the press conferences, managing the rumor mills, playing with, managing the coach, etc. So there's so much that comes along with captaincy. I think it's a little sad, personally. I'm personally a little bit sad about it, but I'm a big Kohli fan. But it doesn't surprise me that he's chosen to make a decision to say, I can still play cricket, but not lead the T20 side.
Okay, now I want to ask Varun the obvious question that comes out of that. We've talked a little bit about the vice captaincy that you said Kohli wanted to hand Pant and Rahul in the white ball format. Are we just assuming that Rohit is taking over from Virat in T20s because Kohli has not given up the ODI captaincy yet? How is Rohit going to take that?
Yeah, so a lot of people were also writing about whether Rohit should take this, right? Because he's just coming into his own as a test batsman. He's 34. He's got 3-4 years maybe left as a premier test batsman for India. To take on this mantle of captaincy, it feels like a bit of a funny situation for me. Look, I also want to say, for everyone who's watched that Netflix show on the Mumbai Indians, it didn't look like Rohit Sharma did anything, right? It looked like Mahela Jayawardene ran the team, who, by the way, apparently was also approached for the BCCI job and said, no, I don't want it. I'll only do Sri Lanka and Mumbai Indians. So again, guys, correct us if any of us are wrong with this, because we are just reading up whatever we can. But I don't know, man. I think the obvious choice is Rohit Sharma. I think he will take it. I think the whole thing has become very convoluted. There are 3 World Cups across 2 formats in the next 3 years. One of them is in India. I think the BCCI is just pushing very hard to get one trophy. Now, if Rohit wins it, all credit to him, right? But it's it's often not just about the captain. It's about a team. It's about how a team comes together, plays. It's about that. And Kohli says it's bad 40 minutes. I mean, it happens, right? You do have 40 bad minutes of cricket, which turn around the whole game or the whole tournament. So I think it is going to be Rohit. I think Kohli will learn to do it that way. I think there are models of split captaincy, especially the England team, that work well. So, look, it's all a big question mark to me. I haven't understood it personally. All I'm doing to rationalize in my head is that I think with Ravi Shastri leaving, I think somehow that has become the trigger point. That is how I'm dealing with this conversation and saying that that is how this has come about.
And there's so many questions that keep coming to my mind. Like, we're talking about split captaincy, but this captaincy is usually split between white ball cricket and red ball cricket, right? It's not split between 2 formats of. I can't think of any
Yeah.
team that. Maybe Australia does it. I don't know. Who's the Australian white T20 captain? Who's their
Wasn't
one
it
day
Finch?
captain?
Finch.
It's Finch, yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
the same guy, right? Like, nobody splits their
Yeah.
T20 from their
And
ODI
and
captaincy, which is
and
weird.
and and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if this is a battle of the egos. I don't know if you're trying to keep people happy. The whole thing doesn't make sense because you're literally telling Kohli that play the ODI World Cup because it's in India. We'll give it to you. We have a high chance since it's at home. And last 3 World Cups have been won by home teams. Take it. We'll kind of barter system with you. T20, you give up, give it to Rohit. The whole thing doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack. Every time we talk about it, there's more and more that comes out of it, right?
Yeah.
Firstly, there's been reports, Ashwin, about an unnamed senior player after the World Test Championship final who was not happy with Kohli's attitude because Kohli had said that he had lack of intent. That senior player, the rumor mills are working overtime. There are sources leaking things to the media, apparently, which takes you back years and decades. None of this was happening when Dhoni was captain when Virat at the start of Virat's reign. And they've said that Virat has lost the respect of those in the dressing room. Rohit is like an elder brother to us. Ajinkya does things differently. Apparently, that is what people are saying. How shocked are you by that, Ashwin? Firstly, because how quickly has that come straight after the highs of Lords and the highs of the Oval? We were all praised for it. It looked like the team was all pulling in one direction. I feel as a fan, I feel pretty betrayed as a Kohli fan by this chat. I don't know how he's feeling about it.
Yeah, honestly, just betrayed and disappointed. And you said it well. Like, it was, we won the series in England 2-1. I know there's a little bit of a question mark or an asterisk on that 5th test, but we were leading the series at least in England under Kohli's captaincy. I mean, it's probably been the best couple of years of test results we've seen in a long time under Kohli's captaincy. And yeah, betrayed was a good choice of word. I was going to say disappointed, but you almost feel a little bit betrayed. What happened? How did we get here? How are we at this point now where rumor mills are churning, unnamed senior players are leaking stories to the media? It just takes away from the cricket. Honestly, this morning when the IPL restarted, morning my time when the IPL restarted, as much of the news was about this other garbage as it was about the restart of the IPL. And that is just sad.
Absolutely. Varun, I want to ask you again. We're still on this same topic. How much of this is to do with Kohli's batting? Yes, he hasn't scored his 71st 100. Yes, he's not been in the best form. Yes, it's the talk is all about he needs to focus on his batting. That's why we're taking this away from him. How much has it come out from him in being in a poor run of form, and how much did his runs keep this chatter away even within and without the team?
Yeah, so form always has a role to play, right? But remember, I mean, you're counting his bad patch, including 2020. There was barely any cricket. I mean, a lot of us barely left our house in the whole year. So for him to not be scoring runs at that time, it's a bit harsh, right? So it always gets worse when you're not scoring runs. But there's something that's not right about this. I don't know how the narrative has changed. Suddenly people have come out and said this. They've said when Kohli is off the field, he's incommunicado in some sense, right? He no player can reach him, but Dhoni's door was always open. I mean, everyone has a different style. And going to give you guys the flip side as well, right? A lot of people, and I thought this too, that till 2023, we were resigned with the fact that Kohli is going to be our captain. There's going to be no change. This is the way he runs the team. And we have been negative about him in the past as well. His selection, sometimes does he listen to other players? That's what changed in Australia after he left. Pujara and Ashwin were talking to Jinx, who was the captain at that time. So I'm not saying that Kohli had to be captain forever. I think the timing is surprising, the narrative is surprising. And like you said, DJ, the whole point of test versus white ball is not coming through. So we're going to find out more. Let's keep discussing this as the weeks go along. But for now, I guess there's one thing that I hope. I hope it's a RCB versus Mumbai Indians final, and I hope that RCB wins. That's the only thing I want.
You mean
What kind of Delhi fan are
eliminator,
you?
right? You mean an eliminator, right? So
No, I
that it
actually
doesn't
mean
have to
that
be the
final.
final.
No,
What?
I want it to be the final. I want Kohli versus Rohit to be the final, and I want Kohli to win.
You know, the
I,
best part is like the 2016 final was played between Kohli and Warner, and after this season, neither of them are going to be the captains of their
yeah,
respective franchises.
yeah.
But
I mean, 5 years
yeah,
is a long time as well, but yeah,
yeah. Just coming back to again, apparently the World Test Championship final loss has precipitated all of this. There's Kohli has failed to win an ICC trophy for India. He's captained in 3 ICC trophies. 3.
yeah. So since Kapil Dev to MS Dhoni, you're saying every person who led India was shit, basically,
Pretty much,
right? That
including the
yeah,
great Sachin Tendulkar,
yeah. Everyone was horrible.
the
Everyone
Dada.
was just
great Dada. Dada did not
yeah,
win an ICC trophy. He
yeah.
took us to a
So
final.
I think he tied against Sri Lanka, so he couldn't even like the
Yeah,
range of. I
Champions
can't remember
Trophy.
what
Yeah, yeah.
happened,
Oh,
but yeah,
that is wow.
yeah.
You can't remember what he
So
had for dinner, but now you're remembering the Champions Trophy
yeah,
2002.
yeah. So what I'm saying is, sure, like let's call a spade a spade. Everyone in between Kapil Dev to MS Dhoni has been shit. Okay, if
That's the
that's the
standard we're
narrative,
applying to Kohli, clearly.
absolutely, yeah. So let's agree to that.
Okay. Ashwin, is this his way of taking a mental health break? To preserve his sanity, the pressure he lives under. I mean, you've seen someone like Ben Stokes having to take an indefinite leave from cricket. The pressure that Kohli lives under, the endorsements, the constant media attention, the technical advice from columnists, you're just like, and journalists, you're just like, boss. I mean, everyone has an opinion on Kohli, right?
When he was getting that technical advice from the journalist and he just said, "Okay, thank you." Maybe that was
Yeah.
a moment. Maybe that's like that's a sign of kind of the aggressive guy who normally would fight back and defend. It's just like, okay, guys, whatever.
Just
Like
tired.
like I'm just battered, right? I'm getting beaten up and yelled, like criticized. Everybody. I think you guys are articulating it right. Like you're just saying everybody other than Kapil and Dhoni has led this side to so many highs. But if you don't win an ICC trophy, you're not good. Like it, it's very possible. It is very possible that it is his way. I don't want to, take mental health lightly or make any assumptions about where his mental health state is, but it would not surprise me if he ultimately said, I want to pick what I want to focus on. I'm getting older. I have a finite number of years in my career left. I want to focus on test batting, test captaincy, and then the other formats I want to focus on batting. Not that driven by being RCB captain, not that driven by being India T20 captain anymore. It's sad, but it's very
But
possible.
but the thing is, right? He should have given up that RCB captaincy first. If this was a mental health, if
Yeah,
this was,
you're right.
he should have done that. Now that he gave up the T20 international captaincy, the RCB there was no choice because you have to stick to your story, right? So, um, like the announcement that came today, it didn't shock me actually because if it hadn't come, I think I would have questioned probably what the hell is going on even more than I am right now. So this is just a natural next step. It should have happened the other way around. He should have given up that captaincy for 2 months. He should have just enjoyed this wonderful festival of cricket that we're going to start talking about soon. But he should have just had a blast like the same way that we do. Something is not right. And I remember saying this that basically no individual is bigger than the game. So if the folks at BCCI think that they are, that this is a power move for them, etc. Remember, one day you're going to go as well. So let's see. I mean, if Rohit wins us that cup, I think I don't think my view is going to change. I think I'll just be very happy. Whoever can win India Cup. So best of luck to them.
Let's just remember it's a team that wins the cup. A captain takes the plaudits, but it is a team that wins the cup. And Dhoni's team, for whatever it's worth, had some match winners in it. Dhoni brought it together. Yes, it all gelled together. But that's the other point. Dhoni's been brought in as mentor to this Indian World T20 team, Varun. And I'm not going to go to Ashwin because I want to talk about Dhoni winning the CSK match with Ashwin. But that is now being used as a conspiracy to say that India have not won a World Championship or a ICC Championship for some time. So we brought Dhoni in to help us win that. Bro, Dhoni was in the team in 2019. He was on the field in 2019. In fact, he was the one that got run out and our hopes ended. We were shattered, right? He was there in 2017 at the Champions Trophy final. He was there in 2015 at the World Cup. I mean, this is the sort of stuff that the media used to do this before the Dhoni era, during the Dada era, during the Azhar and Sachin era, where there was just stuff cooked up, people leaking stuff. I mean, what do you make of this Dhoni being brought into the camp, Varun?
It's an odd one, man. It's like, I wish there was a book that spelled out everything very clearly, that you've played 6 ICC tournaments, you've won 3, so you deserve greatness. You should be brought in as mentor. You've played 3 ICC trophies and won 0. That means you should be sacked. I don't know, man. I don't get it. I was personally very happy about Dhoni becoming mentor because we all love the guy, and seeing him back not on the field but around the field, in the dugout. Kohli respects him, Rohit respects him, everyone does. Like, it'll be even great for somebody like Pant to have Dhoni there during a T20 World Cup, right? So it's a great move as a fan. Well, let's see how it pans out. Too early to say anything.
Okay, Ashwin, very quickly, is this the school principal calling in the parents to take care of the fighting siblings in the team?
I'm going to say no. I don't think so. I think this is a decision that Kohli weighed in on and wanted to be a part of it. So not the higher powers taking care of fighting siblings. Maybe that's just wishful thinking.
So Dhoni isn't coming together to like bring the Diwar together. But anyway, quickly, Indian captain and RCB captain. I just want 2 names from both of you, and then we're going to go into a break. Varun first, Indian T20 captain and RCB T20 captain next year, remembering that it's a mega auction and you can only retain 3 players, one of which Kohli seems to have appointed himself, by the way, saying I will play for RCB till I'm playing the IPL.
Yeah, I think India captain, no doubt, Rohit Sharma. RCB captain, I have to say AB de Villiers, right? I have to. Like, I think Kohli is going to be there.
38? It's going to be 41 by the end of the next cycle,
Actually,
man.
that's true, man. That is true.
I'm going to say, just to jump in, I don't think RCB will pick a captain from their current squad. So he strategically said, I'm going to see out this. They're going to be in the auction bidding for a leader. I didn't see anybody who I think can step up. I mean, unless AB does, but again, doesn't have a lot of time left, probably. So I think they're going to be looking for, multiple teams have many captains. I think they're going to be trying to hire one.
I think they should just bid for Rohit Sharma. Rohit Sharma can lead Kohli in all teams.
That would be amazing if Rohit and Kohli play the same
Shots fired. Ashwin, you happy with Rohit Sharma leading India in T20 cricket? I actually think he's quite a good captain, to be honest. I know Varun was saying he did nothing, but I mean, he's won 5 T20s. He's won the Asia Cup. He's pretty good. Before we get hate from the Rohit fans, I just wanted to clarify that.
I think he'll be good. I think it's just a 2 to 3 year decision, which is fine. Right? You're not signing up for the next 8-year-long captain, which is okay. So Rohit is good for me.
He's everyone's brother, man, right? So that's great. It's good for the team, good for everyone.
Okay, then on that note, we're going to go into a break, and we will see you on the other side of this break to talk about the restart of the IPL 2021. We now have a new table topper, so we will talk all about that when we're back. Welcome back from that break, and you're still listening to the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. I am here with Varun and Ashwin Garg, and we are going to talk about one of our favorite things. The greatest T20 tournament in the universe is back. The two big teams that seem to have won quite a lot of these tournaments just played match 30, so it's not quite a start, it's a restart. And
what did they say? They say pehle half to jhanki thi. What
asli
is the line?
picture abhi baki hai.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the
Why
line,
didn't they
but
just
yeah.
go with picture abhi baki hai mere dost? There must be some copyright angle to that, so
Yeah,
they
they
must
must
not
have
have got it. Anyway, so CSK versus Mumbai Indians, which for some reason fans seem to want to call El Clasico, which I just don't get. I'm just like, why? And that was the other thing I was reminded of when Kohli said, I'm never going to play for another franchise other than RCB till the end of my IPL days. I was like, there was one other player who used to say this, Leo Messi. He is no longer at Barcelona, so never say never, boys. But digress.
I don't
CSK
like El
versus Mumbai
Clasico,
Indians.
but I liked IPL Clasico. That was a good one I saw on Twitter. That's a good name.
IPL Clasico is pretty good.
It's better than
not
El
bad.
Clasico. At least it's
El
creative.
Clasico. Yeah, it's just like, I don't get that reference. Okay. Ashwin, Varun, the IPL has started again. CSK played Mumbai. MS Dhoni back on the field, back leading the men in yellow, won the toss, batted first.
Back making single-digit scores.
Oh, we'll come to that. I mean, see, we've talked a lot about captaincy in this episode, so clearly we need to talk more about that than actual runs. But won the toss and batted first. Faf was back in, Moeen was in, Hazelwood was playing, and Bravo was fit. No Tahir. Ashwin, first of all, what did you make of the decision to bat first? Because teams seem to want to bowl first in this IPL format quite a lot.
Yeah, honestly, Dhoni's a smart captain, and he's said for a long time, like it's always more than just the conditions and more than just. So I think he was very seriously looking into the restart, the fact that it's been a while. Several of the players haven't played at all in a while, definitely haven't played together in a while. So I think he was looking into that and making the call to say, let's put some runs on the board and try to put pressure. Of course, the story didn't quite start as they expected, but it ended pretty well. So I'd say overall, the decision seems to have paid off, but I think it was not about the pitch or anything. I think ongoing in the UAE, you'll see captains want to bat second, but for the first match back, I think it made sense.
Yeah, so Varun, Faf gets a duck, who's coming off a fantastic CPL. He scored 100. He was my fantasy captain, and I played my booster today, so I got 4 times minus points for that. So that was great. Moeen Ali, another one of my players, also got a duck, who's also coming off a decent 100, and he played really well in the first half of the IPL. Ambati Rayudu gets smacked in the elbow by Adam Milne. He goes off. Your favorite? Talk me through that 6-ball innings by Suresh Raina, bro.
And why he didn't come in at number 3?
No, okay. So DJ, unfortunately, I couldn't watch it, so I don't know what that innings was like.
I would suggest you don't watch it.
Yeah, but Raina came in at number 5, and I remember 100 episodes or so ago, I used to get crap from you guys for suggesting Raina at number 5. So let's just be clear. Who called?
Guess what? He played the worst innings of his entire T20 career at number 5.
MS Dhoni, your favorite player in the world, said, "It is a smart decision to send Raina at number 5." So you cannot argue with that.
So you and MS Dhoni think alike, clearly. Anyway,
which is great. That's perfect. I'll take it.
So Raina looks like he has forgotten how to play cricket. He's literally. I mean, he was fine in the first half of the IPL. He gets a bouncer from Bolt. He has no clue. He eventually gets out. Your team is 7 for 3 effectively. He gets out trying to hit the ball for 6. His bat breaks and it loops to Rahul. He hits it at the bottom of the bat. The ball loops to Rahul. It is the worst innings.
Like he thought it was going to mid-wicket. Yeah. And a little blade of the bat goes to mid-wicket and the ball goes all the way to cover. It was horrendous. It was really...
Did somebody catch the blade of the bat?
No, I don't know. But I couldn't watch. It was like your eyes were bleeding after 7. It was horrible. So they were effectively 7 for 4 after... Raina goes, Dhoni goes, it's 24 for 5 effectively. Then Jadeja and Ruturaj Gaikwad, man. Ashwin, you've watched Ruturaj Gaikwad, right? That was one of the best IPL innings from that scenario that I've ever watched. I don't know what you felt.
Yeah, I mean, I also didn't get to watch all of it. I'm going to watch highlights after we finish recording. But the the pacing of it, right? Imagine being the junior batsman and seeing Faf du Plessis, Moeen Ali, Suresh Raina, MS Dhoni all get out, all international stars of the game, getting out on the other end for duck, 4 and 3, and then Rayudu getting hit. Honestly, the Rayudu injury was also strange. It didn't swing as much when you watch the replays over. It didn't swing as much as you thought. Like he just was trying to get out of the way. It wasn't as high as you expected. It was a strange ball. Great bowling, but anyway. So you've seen all 5 of these guys go, and he just stayed calm. He started slow. He was batting very slow initially, picked up singles, and then you see he ended 88 of 58 balls. Right, just you talk about what has made Kohli a brilliant batsman over the years, and this is not me saying Gaikwad is Kohli, but it's about how you pace a T20 innings. And he did that magnificently despite none of the senior players staying with him. So unbelievable. Like at 7 for 4, I thought, okay, I was mentally starting to prepare for tomorrow's game. I thought it was done. And 156 for 6. Got him.
And all I'm taking away from that is that Gaikwad is the new Kohli. But anyway.
But also, let's be clear. Sorry, unrelated to that, a lot of criticism of Pollard. Bolt and Milne were bowling great. You could have bowled them out. You had Bumrah left. You had Chahar. These guys are naturally, like Jadeja and Gaikwad are naturally better players of spin. Most Indian batsmen are. You could have aggressively used Bumrah more. You could have used Bolt more. He brought in Krunal, your favorite, who gave 27 runs in just 2 overs. He brought in Rahul Chahar, who's been a good bowler, but didn't look as effective. So he made it easy. He basically let Mumbai back into the game from 7 for 4 effectively.
Varun, did you make Suresh Raina your fantasy captain?
No, I didn't. But I think he's joined as a cheerleader, right? This second
pretty
half
much.
Of the tournament.
He's on the balcony with his pom poms.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
He's got a balcony.
But I mean, it was an incredible recovery from 7 for effectively 4. Gaikwad played an innings which just accelerated perfectly. He took Bumrah for runs that by the end of it, he kind of like flick swept Bumrah for 6.
Apparently, he swept Bumrah and Bolt. And
for 6.
Very few batsmen who can say they've done both.
And just clean striking, not muscling the ball. He's not a big guy. He relies on timing. It was just fantastic. Jadeja initially gave him support, and then Bravo, who seems to love playing against his old franchise, the Mumbai Indians, in his 100th game, IPL game, he scores, I think, 23 of 8. Another incredible innings. He also takes 3 for 25 later. But, I mean, they then managed to get to quite a competitive total from what was looking like a game that had ended before it started, 156 for 6. And the Mumbai chase, never really got off the ground. The Dhoni review system came in first up with Quinton de Kock getting LBW to Deepak Chahar. And, I mean, they never seemed to recover. Sky didn't really do very much. It was without Rohit, they seemed pretty directionless, to be honest. Anmolpreet Singh made a debut. He scored a few runs, had a few nice shots, but Surya didn't kick on. Ishan, the other big star, didn't kick on, continuing his sort of lackluster performance this side. Krunal got run out. Adam Milne hit a few at the end. Saurabh Tiwari, surprisingly, was the guy who got a 50. Bravo picked up 3, and Pollard didn't score any runs, who played that incredible innings in the last game between these two teams. I think he got 70 of 27 or something like that. It was quite a pretty good innings. But yeah, the CSK won the game. They won by 20 runs, which is pretty large in a T20 game, right? But yeah, Ashwin, any thoughts on MS Dhoni's batting, captaincy, etc.? You just saw the score and said he scored 0. But, I mean, Dhoni review system, how do you put a price on that?
Yeah,
How many runs is that worth?
First off, Dhoni scored 3. So that's
okay, fine.
Significantly more than the 0.
Did you call him Dunny?
I didn't go. What are you talking about? I didn't say
okay.
that. No, look, I joke about I'm a fan of Dhoni, the captain, no question. Right? I continue to not be a fan of Dhoni, the batsman, but I will stay consistent in my point of view where when the entire batting lineup fails, it's very difficult to single out one guy. So Moeen looked stupid, played a bad shot. Raina played a bad shot. Faf got a good ball. And of course, Dhoni played a bad shot, not necessary at that point in the innings, and got set up for the trap. But he, great skipper. Honestly, even just the self-belief from 7 for 4, 24 from 5 to I don't know if he was sending messages to Gaikwad or not, but the captain, like you said, always gets some credit for it and gets credit for not just willing his team to 156, but then defending it as well against a strong batting lineup. So CSK
He
jumped
also
top of the
dropped
table.
a simple catch. He also
Did
dropped a
he?
simple catch.
I missed
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Saurabh Tiwari just hits one up in the air. Dhoni runs back and drops it, and then has an absolute go at Bravo, which is pretty amusing actually.
And then, but Quinton de Kock also dropped Gaikwad, right? So that's another game-changing moment. So anyway.
But Varun, what has CSK done? Like from last year to this year, it's the exact same team. They are now sitting clear at the top with the highest net run rate, with having won, I think, 6 out of 8 games. They are back at the top of the table. I mean, what has changed this year from last year?
I mean, when we're talking last year, I'm assuming you're saying 2020, right?
Yeah, 2020, yeah.
I think Moeen Ali is a big difference, right? He wasn't there last year. Sam Curran is a big difference. I think.
No, but Curran was there last year as well, and he's not playing this game.
Yeah, not this game, but generally he's played. I think he's like Dhoni's workhorse. Moeen Ali is a big difference. Moving the batting lineup around is a big difference for Moeen Ali because a lot of T20 captains don't know where to play him. And I think Ruturaj, his form has been a big difference, right? Last year he hit 2 or 3 50s only towards the end of the IPL when Chennai were out. This year he's been great from the first game. So I think these are the 2 or 3 things. Also remember people like Bravo, Jadeja, Cheher. They're all class bowlers, right? Josh Hazelwood is also changing his white ball cricket game a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't answer exactly what's changed, but yeah, the Dhoni belief is just there.
I'm so disappointed. He just didn't say Raina's back. Got a balcony. I set you up for it, man.
I mean, he's not doing well, man.
He took 2 catches. And then he celebrated exuberantly like he always does.
I know. That's something. Like he celebrated as if like there was no runs behind or anything. Yeah,
it was pretty good. But anyway, IPL's back on. KKR's playing RCB tomorrow. RCB is in a pretty good position. KKR is, I think, second last from the bottom, just above SRH at the moment. Guys, what are your thoughts about the rest of the IPL? Where is this going? Are we seeing the top 3 already pull away from the rest, Ashwin? Is Mumbai looking weak this year? That's my big question. They've looked a bit ragged, no?
Yeah, I mean, Mumbai has this uncanny ability to win matches, right? And we have to remember Rohit, who we talked about most of the front half of the show, was not there, right? He didn't lead. Pollard came in to lead in his absence. Hardik was not playing. Hardik also pivotal both with bat and ball for Mumbai. So obviously missing a couple of key names. I think you have to believe they will bounce back. It's honestly very hard to see who will be able to continue. Like Delhi and RCB, both quality sides, both do not have the history of doing well at the IPL, right? So what I'm worried about for them, as opposed to Mumbai, who's not had a great early start to the IPL, has the history, has this ability to know how to win games. So what I'm worried about, transparently, is that Delhi and RCB might just, you have a huge break in momentum. It's been a few months. As they come back, can they keep that energy? Can they keep that quality? Shaw and Dhawan were the reason Delhi got off to such flying start. Will their form just carry over or not? Those are all question marks that we will see in the next few days. So too early for me to say we've seen our top 3 already. Selfishly, I hope so, but it's too early to say for sure.
And I think we're pretty excited about double headers all the way to the end now, no?
Yeah, for sure. In fact, when I get back to Singapore, I have a 7-day home quarantine, and the only way I'm going to get through that is the double header. So thank God for that. But I think what's going to be interesting this IPL is just watching the performance of players who have been selected in India's T20 World Cup squad and players who have not. So whether it's a Shaw and Dhawan, whether it's a Chahal for RCB.
Cheher today. Well, he was backup, but he took wickets today.
Yeah, exactly.
Really
so
well.
that squad could change a little, but it's not going to change drastically. But expect Samson, Dhawan, Shaw, these guys to come out, all guns blazing. Ruturaj, Padikkar, and I think it's going to be a fun contest to see everyone everyone putting up a performance to prove something.
Absolutely. And we will be covering all of those games as we go along. Before we wrap this week's episode, the Indian women are starting a series down under playing ODIs, guys. That is a 3 ODI series and some T20s. They're playing a pink ball test. So it's very exciting times for women's cricket as well. So please do tune in and watch that stuff. I think there are a few very interesting things on the ODI side of things, Ashwin. And one of them is I think around Mithali Raj and her role in that team, because we heard all the strike rate criticism when they were in England. She put all of that away when she won the last ODI, right? With a match-winning knock I think winning it in the last over as well. Shefali Verma, who was left out of an ODI series, is now back in the series, and we'll be looking forward to watching her bat on Australian pitches and see how she goes. Of course, she had that huge battle with Catherine Brunt last time around. One of the people who've been on the show, Shikha Pandey, is in Australia. Jamie Rodriguez, did Jamie get a game as well? Because she wasn't doing particularly well in England and was left out of the squad. So, any thoughts on the Indian women in Australia and their chances of beating the current? No, they weren't the world champions. England are the current world champions, right? The current T20 champions are Australia from 2020 last year.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be competitive. I think the one piece you missed that you didn't say is that a lot of these players had a wonderful time at the 100, and Jemmy in particular. And so that, Jemmy will not be thinking about the form from the last one day series. So yes, one day is different, a different beast to T20, which is, I guess, is also different to 100 ball cricket. But essentially, they're coming off of great form, many of them, right? So from Deepti to Harman to Jemmy, they will all be thinking more about the 100 than they will be thinking about anything prior. And I think that's going to give them that little confidence. You said it right. Mithali has, had lots of questions, lots of debate, but unquestionably leading the side plays an important role. And when you have the power hitters like Shefali and Jemmy, she can play a very unique, very different role. So if everything clicks, I think India has a really solid shot at competing hard in the 3 ODIs.
And speaking of power hitters, Harman is down under as well, but I think there was some doubt over her with a quadricep injury when she left the 100 a little bit earlier than the end. So hopefully it all works out for her, because she's an important cog, whether it's the ODI, and she's obviously the captain of the T20 side. Maybe that's an example of a white ball captaincy split. There we have it. Mithali captains India and in ODIs. Harmanpreet does it in T20s. That is the template. We've been looking in the wrong place all this time. And while we're on that, the Cadbury Dairy Milk ad, guys, have you seen it?
Yeah, that was really great. I mean, there was nostalgia. There was just too much emotion while watching that, and I was very happy, very, very happy to see it.
Yeah, it's absolute genius. And I love the way it ends with good luck, girls, because of course we wish them all the luck. It's going to be a tough tour of Australia. We'll be following it here on the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. And this is a wrap for this show. Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. It is always good to have a full house, man. Varun, you should just move to Germany. It makes the time zones a lot easier. Or you can move to London. It makes it even easier for me, because I can see you yawning in the background because you are an hour or two ahead of me. But anyway, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, remember to subscribe and like the show. We're on Apple, Spotify, Castbox, Acast. I don't know. I'm trying to think of whatever podcast apps that I can think of. And I've run Google Podcasts and others on the IVM app as well. So go there. Make sure you subscribe. You'll get notified of new episodes. We will be following the IPL over the next few weeks, and we will be having all the action here for you. So yeah, guys, enjoy the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast and this festival of cricket as it unfolds. We will see you next week. Cheers. Bam.